Tom.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I can still see a number of people joining, so we'll give it a minute or two just to let those late joiners log on. Okay, everyone, welcome. Thank you very much for joining the final MBZIRC webinar before the white paper submission deadline next week. So the last opportunity to really interact and ask questions and clarify any remaining points as you're sort of compiling your final submissions. As usual, the session today will be run by our program manager, Vina Hausen. She will talk a little bit about the challenge, a little bit about Aspire, and then we will throw to the floor for questions. So apologies if you're a regular joiner and you've heard the opening gambit a couple of times before, but just for those that haven't, we will go over it to ensure that everyone is up to speed. So without further ado, Vina, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the last webinar of white paper phase of MBZIRC Maritime Grant Challenge. I'm Vina Hausen, the program manager of MBZIRC Maritime Grant Challenge. I'm a part of Aspire that is driving the creation of transformative technologies. So today's agenda is pretty much the same as the agenda of previous webinars. I'm going to provide you an introduction to Aspire and the MBZIRC Maritime Grant Challenge. We'll then talk about a discussion forum that is built to facilitate teaming activities and ask Q&A questions to the organizers. Then we'll take questions from the participants, and in the end, I'm going to encourage you to take a look at our compiled FAQs. This has a lot of good information. So before we look at what the MBZIRC has in store between now and 2023, I would like to talk a little bit about Aspire. Aspire is an organization that exists to bridge the gap between the lab and the real world. We're based in Abu Dhabi, and we are the technology program management arm of the Advanced Technology Research Council, ATRC in short. A part of ATRC, we are a sister organization of Technology Innovation Institute, TII, which is ATRC's applied research arm. Our role is to drive the creation of transformative technologies. Fundamentally, we focus on commissioning research that leads to pioneering advances, helping deliver new technologies with practical applications. We do this in a number of ways, from directing strategy to funding research, selecting partners, managing the development of research, and shaping the problem statements and international grant challenges to really drive the next great leap in tech evolution. At Aspire, we are here for the real world. We don't do research for the sake of research. We frame our research statements with clear benefits and practical commercial applications in mind. We work in close consultation with researchers, innovations, and cross-sector industry stakeholders from all levels of the local and international R&D ecosystem. We ensure that our research projects have a clear path to successful application. So it's a natural and logical part of our mission to sponsor and organize grant challenges at the highest level, which can translate quickly into IP and commercial success. As a part of Aspire's mission to solve tomorrow's issues, our high-profile competitions and grant challenges reach out to engage innovators and talented research teams from around the globe. To us, they offer a unique way to approach problem solving, and maybe even to reach innovators we've never heard of until now. We're challenging them and you to develop groundbreaking solutions to some of the world's most pressing problems. X Prize Feed the Next Billion is the very first grand challenge sponsored by Aspire. Let me give you a little bit of a background. By 2050, Earth's population will be 9.7 billion. Demand for high protein products is increasing. Impact of meat production is devastating the planet. This challenge seeks to address these conflicting trends. Feed the Next Billion competition was launched in December 2020 and will run for 4 years. It carries a total prize purse of $15 million. This is big money. This competition incentivizes innovation in chicken breast and fish fillet alternatives. The goal is to replicate or outperform conventional chicken breast and fish fillet in access, environmental sustainability, animal welfare, nutrition and health, taste and texture. So the semi-finalist teams have almost been finalized and they are in solution development phase. The next step in X Prize Feed the Next Billion is semi-finalist solution testing and picking the finalists that will proceed to the final solution development. So let's start by looking at the bigger picture. Robots are everywhere, and autonomous systems are playing an increasingly important role across a huge range of sectors and applications. Meanwhile, they're getting more cost-effective as they become more powerful. So far, so good, but there's a tangible gap between what they can achieve here and now and the kind of capabilities we need as a society. Through the MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge, we at Aspire are looking to bridge this gap as part of our wider remit. We're seeking to push technological boundaries, enabling robots to work more autonomously in dynamic, unstructured environments while interacting and collaborating with us and with one another. The MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge, for those of you who don't know much about us, we'll just start with a little bit of a background. The Mohammed bin Zayed International Robotics Challenge aims to become one of the world's largest and most prestigious international robotics competitions. Established in 2017, it's held every 2 years in Abu Dhabi as a real-world challenge for universities, research centers, companies, and individual innovators from all over the world. The aim of the challenge is to inspire the development of solutions in autonomous robotics. Our previous challenges have attracted teams from across Asia, Europe, North America, and the Middle East. Today, it's at the very forefront of exploration and experimentation as we set out to find novel technological successes that are resilient in a dynamic and unpredictable market.
From the Mohammed bin Zayed International Robotics Challenge, a new global grand challenge for 2023, as teams of pioneering innovators from around the world converge on the coast of Abu Dhabi, UAE, to take part in an ambitious robotics competition and compete for a prize purse of over $3 million. Welcome to the MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge. The MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge is a unique, real-world challenge intended to inspire the creation of groundbreaking solutions in autonomous robotics, focused on applications of heterogeneous swarms in the air and out at sea, stimulating ideas, encouraging collaboration, and pushing boundaries. This edition of MBZIRC is a System of Systems challenge, bringing together diverse teams with skills in robotics, navigation, communications, and autonomous technologies to unleash their creativity together. In 2023, the Maritime Grand Challenge will focus on deploying autonomous robotic technologies to address the global problems of illegal fishing, piracy, smuggling, and coastline security. This highly complex, multi-layered task involves autonomous, unmanned aerial and surface vehicles working together in a GNSS-denied environment out at sea to detect an unfriendly vessel and offload goods from it in the shortest possible time. Making it happen will require a collaborative symphony of heterogeneous technologies and unmanned platforms backed by autonomous infrastructure. The MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge is organized over 3 distinct phases. A white paper phase, open to participants from across the globe until the end of December 2021. A simulation phase for shortlisted semi-finalists. And finally, a demonstration phase for 5 finalists who compete against the clock in a real-life scenario. To succeed, you'll need to create a vibrant ecosystem of partners to propel novel solutions with deep reasoning to counter real-world problems. Now, the call for participation is open. To register your interest and battle with the leading pioneers of autonomous robotics, visit us at mbzirc.com and let the Maritime Grand Challenge begin. Visit mbzirc.com for more details.
So that was our wonderful promo video. This video basically outlines pretty much every aspect of the challenge and videographically shows you what you're expected to do. So I'm delighted to set out the details of our very next Global Grand Challenge, all that you're looking forward to, the MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge. It's a unique real-world competition designed to inspire the creation of groundbreaking solutions in autonomous robotics in the air and out at sea, stimulating ideas, encouraging collaboration, and pushing boundaries. In 2023, the MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge will deploy autonomous robotic technologies to address the very real and present global problems of illegal fishing, piracy, smuggling, and coastline security. It's a highly complex, multi-layered task involving autonomous aerial and surface vehicles working together in a GNSS-denied environment off the coast of Abu Dhabi to identify a target vessel and offload goods from it in the shortest possible time. What makes this different from the other grand challenges? It's the first ever challenge to involve heterogeneous collaboration among unmanned aerial vehicles and unmanned surface vehicles. So are you and your team ready for the challenge? Let's start by looking at the incentives, the prizes. Our total prize pot is $3.5 million, and it is designed not only to reward our first, second, and third place finishers, but all those who complete our simulation phase and advance to the final round, our demonstration phase. So all the winners of simulation phase who proceed to the final demonstration phase will share a fund of $500,000 equally. Because we believe in teamwork, collaboration, and sharing the benefits of innovation, any team that accepts demonstration phase prize money will provide us at Aspire with a non-exclusive, perpetual, and royalty-free access to the IP, including the rights to sub-license it to third parties. As far as other funding and sponsorship is concerned, we at Aspire will not provide any sponsorship of equipment to teams other than USV and funding towards robotic arm and its mounting, which I will tell you a bit more in detail in the next few slides. So in this challenge, the teams will use a heterogeneous unmanned system comprising of one autonomous unmanned surface vehicle mounted with a robotic manipulation arm or multiple arms, as you please, and a swarm of 5 to 20 unmanned aerial vehicles. UAVs may land on, take off from, and recharge on the USV. The USV base station and manipulation arm will be provided to each team by Aspire. Of course, for the manipulation arm, we will provide you up to $50,000, and you will have to design and mount it. The UAVs are to be brought by each team competing. So no other device or equipment is allowed beside the USV and UAV swarm system. In terms of communication, the swarm of unmanned systems must work in a GNSS denied environment, and no extra system communications are allowed except for the communication to the operator for confirming the ID of the vessel and the objects of intervention. So I'm going to run you through the various tasks a little bit more in detail. In the inspection task, the UAV swarm is used to monitor a large surface area of water to identify vessels that are in motion. For white paper phase, you can assume that this surface of water is about 10 square kilometers. Out of the total number of vessels present, there will be a subset of target vessels, 1 or 2 target vessels. Once a vessel is identified, the UAV swarm deploys to determine whether or not it is target by scanning the vessel. So once the swarm finds a target vessel, they need to activate a video stream to the operator along with a Boolean for the operator to basically either confirm or deny the identified target vessel. If the operator denies that this is the target vessel, then the team gets a penalty and the system should continue to look for the target vessel. But if the operator confirms that it is the right target vessel, the system may then continue to the intervention task. In the intervention task, once a vessel is identified as a target, the operator selects item to be, so the items to be picked up from the target vessel are already provided to the team's prior hand. And once the system finds these objects, so once the target vessel is identified, the system should continue to look for these objects on the target vessel, and identified objects need to be sent to the operator again through a video stream, along with the Boolean for the operator to say yes or no. So the way it's going to work is in sequence. First, the video stream should send the small object of intervention, which will be up to 1 kilogram in weight. And once the operator confirms, a single UAV or a collaboration between multiple UAVs have to pick up this small object from the target vessel and place it on the USV platform. And once this is complete, the system has to send a video stream to the operator with the identified large object coupled with a Boolean for the operator to either say yes or no. And if the operator says no, you get a time penalty and you should continue looking for the larger object. And if the operator says yes, you can proceed to the intervention of this large object. So the intervention of the large object needs to be done in the following way. So multiple UAVs, it is a requirement. More than one UAV have to collaborate with each other, attach themselves to this large object, move it from one point on the target vessel to another point such that the second point is more convenient for the robotic arm mounted on the USV to reach into and pick up the larger object. The larger object could be up to 10 kilograms in weight. So the robotic arm has to pick up this larger object and place it on the USV platform. And the moment the larger object is placed on the USV platform, the timer stops and the amount of time you've taken for demonstration will be considered up to that time. So because this is such a complex challenge, we are conducting this in various phases to ensure that we have as much success as possible in the end. So first, we are going to have white paper phase, which is the current phase. And the participants can submit their white papers till 31st January 2022, 6 p.m. GST. Registration is the first step. So please register your team and submit the white paper through our portal. So in order for you to submit the white paper, register, log in, and there is a white paper submission possibility inside your login. So the teams can submit multiple revisions of the white paper, and the latest white paper that you submit before the deadline is going to be considered for grading. The up to 20 teams will be selected from white paper by our esteemed jury and judging panel. And these people will then proceed to the simulation phase. In the simulation phase, we want to see proof of concept. Aspire is going to provide a simulation environment that will be in open source. All the teams that will proceed to the simulation phase will have access to this simulation software, and they need to provide us the proof of concept of the final demonstration in simulation. And along with it, we also want to see the possibility of robotic arm design and mounting that you plan to use for the final demonstration. At the end of the simulation phase, we are going to have simulation judging. We are going to evaluate the proof of concept that you have provided. Whatever concept you have provided in white paper, we want to see the proof of concept of this particular design. Of course, you can do improvements, but you cannot come up with a drastically new design in the simulation phase. The very reason your design was chosen to proceed to the simulation phase was because the design was rated high by our jury and judging panel. So it has to be consistent with the white paper submission. At the end of simulation phase, we will evaluate your simulation proof of concept, and we might visit your facilities to check your capabilities for doing development for the final demonstration. And up to 5 finalists will be chosen at the end of simulation phase. And all the selected teams that will proceed to the final demonstration phase will get to split $500,000, $500,000 US prize money equally among themselves. And each of these finalist teams will be given $50,000 towards robotic arm and its mounting. So these finalist teams will develop their solution over the next 9 months, and the final demonstration will be held in Abu Dhabi in the summer of 2023. All the teams will have to come to Abu Dhabi and do the final demonstration over a couple of days. Each team will be provided 3 runs, and we will take the best of 3 runs for selecting the prize winners. So this is how the challenge is going to run over the 3 phases. So because white paper deadline is coming very close, I would like to talk a little bit more about the white paper submission criteria. It is very important that the white paper submission criteria is on our website. So please read through it carefully. Ensure that you adhere to the white paper format, up to 15 pages, A4 sheet with at least 2 centimeter margin and 12-point minimum font size. If anything is written beyond these 15 pages, we are not going to read it. So please make sure that all the information that you provide, your submission, including everything, should only be 15 pages. You are allowed to put video links to your possible demonstrations, but use this in a cognizant way. When you provide a video link for us to check, it should actually be a video which shows the demonstration of your skills or your capabilities. Don't use this video to put more additional textual information, because that will again add to the number of pages you've submitted, and it's not going to be very effective. So for the white paper phase, we basically need 2 sets of information. One is team information and the other one is technical approach. Team information carries about 40% weightage, and the technical approach is going to carry 60% weightage. So go through all the points and go through all the requirements laid out in the white paper submission criteria that are also copy pasted on the slide, and ensure that you have provided all these details. Yeah, it's very important that you have written, you have provided sufficient information for all the points. So we are welcoming applications from teams from around the world, which means any team with skills, resources, and knowledge to participate and succeed are welcome. We're particularly interested in hearing from universities, research centers, innovative businesses, and pioneering individuals. Excuse me. It's possible that many individual institutions or organizations may lack all of the necessary skills in one place. So we are actively encouraging the formation of collaborative partnerships that bring talents and technologies together. In the meantime, my colleagues at Aspire will be sharing information, facilitating team building through a variety of outreach activities between now and the end of the final simulation phase. So I would like to talk a little bit more about teaming activity because white paper phase is coming to a conclusion. We have provided MBZIRC community forum. The first step to enter the community forum is to register. Once you register, you're going to get an email with an invite to get into the community forum. So in the community forum, there are two threads. One thread is for teaming activity, and the second thread is for asking questions to organizers. So whatever questions we get in webinar, we try and compile them and put them as FAQ on our website, but the whole process takes us a little bit of time. If you want a quick answer to your question, just post them on our community forum and we'll be able to answer you faster. Just be very, just be mindful that when you ask a question, do not reveal your proprietary information. If there is proprietary information, either send us an email to talk to us at mbzirc.com. We try and answer these emails also at the earliest. Ideally, we also do not want to know your technical details. Okay, so try and ask the questions in such a way that you don't reveal to us any proprietary information. This would be the best way to ask the question. And in the teaming thread, you can reach out to other teams that might complete the capabilities that your team is lacking. Let's say your team is experts in UAV technology, but you have never worked on communication in GNSS denied environment, and you're looking for experts who can provide you input or who can team up with you and form a stronger team that is complete to navigate in the GNSS denied environment. So you can leave a message asking for somebody who has expertise in communication in GNSS denied environment to team up with you. So teaming activity is going to be facilitated till the end of the simulation phase. So if you team already now, well and good. But the only thing is once we start the simulation phase, only the teams that proceed to the simulation phase will be allowed to team with each other. So I would highly recommend you to try and form a stronger team already at this phase. So are you and your team ready for the challenge? The search is now on to find the world's most accomplished robotics teams to go ahead and battle head-to-head in the ultimate challenge in Abu Dhabi. The MBZIRC Maritime Grand Challenge will be a competition like no other, pushing autonomy, communication, and collaboration to their limits in the air and out at sea. Any team from anywhere is welcome to participate and compete with the world's leading innovators in autonomous robotics. So we're looking forward to excellent white papers from you in the next 1 week or so. So yeah, all the best to everyone. Put all your best efforts and send us those great white papers. We are now open for FAQ. Tom?
Great, thank you very much, Meena. So as usual, for those that have joined the webinars over the previous weeks and months even, please use the Q&A function on Zoom. Submit your questions in there, and we will run through and read them out. Just give it a minute or so, as I appreciate that given the late stage that we're in now with regards to finalizing your papers, you may have some complex questions. Hopefully the simple ones you're all aware of and have been covered off already. Okay, first one just come in. Thank you. So, Vina, we've mentioned that the USV is modular. Is it possible to have an additional 2-meter section to increase the length if required?
To increase the length of the USV or the increase the length of the platform?
The USV is the question.
Okay, so it is not possible to increase the length of the hulls. The USV that is provided in the white paper description, it is a preliminary design. The final USV that we will provide to you will have additional platform space. If you can extend the length to 2 meters, I don't think it's possible because the hull design is not extendable. Of course, you can increase or decrease the width of the USV.
Great, thank you. We have one participant with their hand up. I'm not sure it's going to be able to, I'm not sure we can give you speaking capabilities on the webinar, but if you do have a question, please do submit it on the Q&A forum. I think whilst we're waiting people are typing and things, if we want to kind of clarify just on oh, here the questions are coming in. So yeah, again, just to clarify on the size of the USV, I think that's clearly a point for a few people on the webinar today. Just to clarify, you can't increase the size of it now.
Let me just talk a little bit more about the USV. I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible to you, Tom? Or not yet? Is it visible to you now?
It's loading.
Okay. Do you see it? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the white paper submission requirement, and we have provided the preliminary details of the USV. If you see, can I put a pointer here? Okay. Do you also see my hand moving?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the design of the USV. If you see these two hulls, it is possible to bring them a little bit closer together so that the USV is sleeker. As you can see, the various sections of the hull are modular. It is just, this facilitates easy transport of the USV. It doesn't mean the USV can be extended by adding additional modules. So that is not something that we have taken into consideration. So you cannot extend the length of the USV. However, if you see the platform, yeah, there are 3 platforms available. We are considering extending the platform that is in the middle a little bit to the a little bit more to both the, on both the sides, so that the platform is a bit bigger for the robotic arms to be mounted, so that multiple UAVs can land on it. So once those are final, it will be provided to you, and these details will be available in the simulation phase. So I think for white paper phase, all the details that we have provided so far should be sufficient. Yeah.
Okay, just a couple more coming in on the same topic. So given the size of the USV, someone just wants to clarify that the only way 20 UAVs could fit is if they're mini UAVs. So I think I just want to like you to expand a little bit on how the UAVs interact with the USV, and do they all have to land on the platform? And talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so whether your UAVs land on the USV or not is really up to you. We are providing you the USV, and how you use this in the challenge is up to your design, and it's your freedom. So if you want your UAVs to land on the USV, there is sufficient space for many MAVs to land on it, micro aerial vehicles. If all the 20 UAVs can land on it, we cannot say, because we have not put any restriction on the type of the UAVs you can use in this competition, at least till the end of the white paper phase. So it really depends on the size of the UAV. What we expect from you is, this is what you've been given, and you have to use this in the best possible way to accomplish the challenge.
Okay, and then just continuing on that theme, can you elaborate a little bit on the specific size of the package on the target vessel that the UAVs need to pick up?
There will be 2 target objects. The first one will be a small object. At this moment, for the white paper phase, we are only specifying the weight of the target object. The second one will be up to 10 kilograms. We are deliberately trying to avoid providing further details on shape, texture, size, possibilities for gripping, because we want to see innovative ideas from you that can pick up any type of objects. So just work with this information in your white paper and come up with innovative ideas for picking up targets that could be of any shape, size, or texture in these weight categories. If you still have to make particular assumptions, then go ahead and make some assumptions and state these assumptions clearly in your white paper. But the goal is that we want to see innovative solutions from you that can work with multiple type of objects for picking up. Just imagine a real life scenario. You don't know how an object for intervention would look like. So you should be able to pick up any type of an object in a scenario where a suspicious activity has been detected and an object has to be picked up for inspection. So yeah, real life solutions for real world problems.
Great. Okay, so we've had a couple come in on the prize money. So is the equal distribution of prize money a requirement, or kind of contractual requirement based on sort of merit, contribution, time, cost, or investment-based disbursement allowed? I'm not quite sure if the person that submitted this question would like to just clarify a couple of points here, if I've misunderstood. But I believe you're referring to what you as a team do with the prize money is kind of up to you whether you split it between your team. Do you mean the whole prize, or the prize for reaching the final? If you could just clarify your question, that would be appreciated. Another one is if a collaborative team gets to the final and one member does not wish to share their IP, can the rest of the team receive their share of the prize money, or is it all or nothing?
Well, this is a very good question. We haven't had this so far. Well, the goal is whatever IP is part of the final solution, we look at it as one package. Let's say you are comprised of 3 team members. One person has rights on one IP that has to do with communication. The second person has rights on IP for coordination or swarming of various UAVs, and the third person on whatever. And the person A who has IP on communication says, I don't want to share my IP. Then the entire system does not work without this IP. So how do we use this solution going forward? So it is going to be all or nothing for us. So we want to have the entire technology that is used in the demonstration.
Right. So another one, back to the USV. Can teams mount their own infrastructure on the USV, or do they need to stick with the USV as provided?
So we will provide you USV, and this USV comes with a computer mounted on it to control the thrusters. All the autonomous navigation functionality has to be built in by you. So you have to put payloads on the USV so that you can provide the navigation information to this computer, and this computer will then drive the thrusters in a way that the USV can navigate in the direction and at the speed that you would like. So to answer your question in short, you will have to mount payloads, and you will have to program the USV in order for the USV to have autonomous behavior. You will basically be provided with a catamaran that you see in our white paper requirement details, with a computer on board which accepts the navigation information and sends it to the thrusters. But the navigation information has to come from the team's technology that is mounted on the USV, and the algorithm that uses the sensor information and computes the coordinates for navigation to be programmed into the computer provided on board. I really hope I didn't make it sound too complicated.
Okay, so continuing with the USV, are there any other modifications that they can make to the USV themselves other than reducing the beam or width of it?
So we will be providing the USV to you in the demonstration phase. At the end of the final demonstration, you have to return the USV back to us in the state that we have given it to you. So if you can make modifications to the USV in such a way that it's reversible, I think that should be allowed. So for white paper phase, just state what exactly you plan to modify and write your design based on that. Just make sure that whatever modification you do should be reversible.
Hey, Veena, this is Art.
Yeah.
Let me jump in a little bit here. Hi, everybody. I'm Art Morris. I'm the CEO for Aspire, and I think I understand where the questions on the USV are coming from. So let me take a crack at it. What we're providing is the basic USV. It has those 3 platform places on it that you see. And there will be attachment points. There will be the control system for the USV. If you want to mount something on those platforms that makes the platforms bigger, if you're going to bolt on a bigger platform or a bigger mounting structure, as long as you're not fundamentally damaging the USV, you can do that. But be aware that this USV has its center of mass and its center of buoyancy calculated for the way it's set up. So right now in the way that it's delivered. So if you put things on the USV that are going to change the center of mass, center of buoyancy, its tip arm, any of that, that's up to you to figure out what the effect is going to be. Okay, so mounting things on those 3 platform stages are acceptable, and you could put something on them that would extend them somewhat. But remember that you're working with a ship. And you have to remember that it will tip over, even though it's a catamaran, and we try to make it so it wouldn't tip over. And it will tip to the front, it will tip to the rear if you put too much weight in any one place without distributing it. So this is part of the challenge, is for you guys to figure out how to put the things on there that you want to have on there. Can you cut it in half and make it 8 times as bigger? No. Can you mount things on those platforms that will allow you to have more flexibility in your design? Absolutely. Does that help?
That was very well answered, Art.
Thanks, Art.
Sure. I'll go back on mute now.
Next one's regarding the IP, and just a clarification on who owns the IP.
Well,
Solutions
the
developer,
team is
yes.
all the technology or all the IP that was invented in the process of taking part and a developing solution as part of taking part in this challenge will be owned by the team. But if the team wins in the final demonstration and accepts the prize money, the team agrees to provide to Aspire non-exclusive rights that we discussed in one of the previous slides. But if you win in the final challenge and you don't want to give us the non-exclusive rights, then you have to let go of the prize money, but you get to keep the bragging rights. Would you like to elaborate on it, Art?
No, I think you got it just about right, Veena. Just let's be really, really clear. We are not trying to take IP away from any of the teams. Our goal for wanting the non-exclusive rights to it is to make sure that the IP actually gets utilized. Too many times we have these challenges, not with Aspire, but in other challenges that you see around the world. Somebody wins and it's okay, off to the next thing. And that's not what we're interested in. We have people that we think will be interested in talking with the teams about this. And if the teams are interested, great. If the teams aren't interested, that's great too. That's why we want the non-exclusive license. But our object here is to make sure that the IP gets utilized. That's really what it comes down to. So are we trying to take the IP from the teams? Absolutely not. The teams own the IP. At the end of the day, all we want is the ability to use it in a non-exclusive fashion.
Great.
Thank you.
Next one is a slightly more technical question. So one comment, just, is it possible to use multi-point to multi-point data link system, which works on the web in the demonstration phase?
Multi-point data link system which works on the web. So as long as
Veena, let me take a quick shot at this because somebody I think asked this question in a different form before. Okay. So you can use relative navigation between your UAVs, right? If that's what you're asking, that's absolutely fine. We've told you can't use GPS. If you're thinking you're going to set up a shore station or a ship station somewhere out at sea and use something like LORAN or SHORAN, no, you can't do that. So let's be real clear. This is a GNSS denied environment, and that means you can't use something that you are setting up as a shore base station or an at-sea base station that is not your USV. You can use your USV as an anchor point if you want. But it's all GNSS, not just GPS, because it's GLONASS, it's Galileo, it's whatever your flavor of the day of GNSS is. So if that's the question you were asking, can you use relative nav between your units? Absolutely. If you're asking, can you use something outside of the competition that you're setting up? Absolutely not. So Veena, go ahead with the rest of what you were going to say.
So as long as all the information stays within the system, you're welcome to do whatever you want. So that's why we have stated it very clearly that only intra-system communication is allowed. There is no extra system communication except for the video stream that you send to the operator. So it is not allowed for you to drop or put markers outside the in the demonstration area. You cannot use equipment that is not part of your UAV and USV system. And you cannot use GPS or GNSS information directly or indirectly. The whole purpose of stating that this has to be GNSS denied is you try and find navigation and communication methodologies without this technology. Finding alternative ways to get access to this technology is not going to be something that we will approve of.
Okay, next one, just a couple of, one is is the January 31st a hard deadline for submission, or can teams request an extension?
So the previous deadline, as you all knew, was 30 December 2021. Due to various requests, we decided to provide one more month time up to 31st January 2022. So this is going to be a hard deadline. We are not planning on extending it. So please submit your white paper before the deadline.
Next one, another one on kind of timelines, is just sort of what autopilot does the USV use, and when will this information be announced?
So the USV will not use autopilot. You will be provided a catamaran that has thrusters mounted, and this thruster is connected to an onboard computer with CAN bus. And this computer can translate the navigation information that you program into it to the thrusters. So the entire process of using the sensor information and computing the navigation data to make this catamaran operate autonomously is part of the challenge. So your team will have to do this.
Okay. One on GNSS, and just clarifying, if teams decide to use it, is it a condition of automatic elimination, or is it just a sort of points deduction?
So the teams that use any form of GNSS data will be disqualified immediately.
Okay, we've had a few more come in on the funding and the prize money and kind of how that's split. One just regarding, is there any stipulations from our side on how the funding is distributed within the teams? And then another one just on, can we be a little bit clearer and elaborate on the max amount or the max funding that's available? So I think that's, looking beyond the prize money, there's, the additional bits of support that we're offering.
Okay, so I will just explain this a little bit more elaborately. So at the end of simulation phase, we want to see your simulation solution and your design of the robotic arm that you plan to mount on the USV. Based on that, we are going to select up to 5 finalists. So it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5. So all these finalist teams will split a prize money of $500,000 equally among themselves. So this is your prize money. Do what you want with it. Okay. We are not going to ask you to provide us any information on this prize money. The only condition is these teams will have to agree to proceed to the final demonstration. If you don't agree to proceed to the final demonstration, then you're not going to be part of the finalists. So you do not get to share this prize money. Yeah. So once you get this prize money, do what you want with it. And the finalist teams, the teams that have been identified to proceed to the final demonstration phase, that have agreed to proceed to the final demonstration phase, will each get $50,000 towards the development and mounting of the robotic arm. So we will need to see a clear plan from you as to how you plan to utilize this $50,000 towards robotic arms and their mounting mechanism. Are we going to release it in phases? We might. So we will provide this information to you when we come to that stage. But this $50,000 will be given equally to all the finalist teams. And this has to be used only towards a robotic arm and mounting. You cannot use it towards your payloads or for your team travel or for whatever other reasons. And now coming to the final demonstration. So the $500,000 that was split equally between the finalist teams, we don't ask you how you're going to spend that money, but it is envisioned that you use this money to actually towards expenses that you incur for your development or for coming to Abu Dhabi, and expenses related to actually coming here and running the demonstration. At the end of final demonstration, the first 3 winners will get their prize money, provided they accept to share, accept to provide non-exclusive rights to the IPs. And this money is team's prize money. They can, once the contract is signed, they can go ahead and do whatever they want with it. I hope I answered this question correctly.
Yeah,
Would you like to
again,
add something?
Yeah, let's be real specific, because I think people are continuing to ask, do we have any interest in how the money is then distributed within the team? If it's, one team member did 70% of the work and you had 3 other team members that only did 10% each, you can distribute it however you want within your team agreement. We don't care. The team gets a lump sum, the team decides how the distribution goes. Right? So I hope that answered that, because from our perspective, the team is the one that wins it. How the distribution takes place within the team after you guys get the check, that's really up to you.
Yep.
Thanks for clarifying that, Art. Another one, back to kind of the nuts and bolts of the challenge. Is it compulsory to keep your USV as your base station?
No, it's not compulsory. It is an option. So you can either you can use it, or you can come up with another methodology. So it's optional. This is just how do you call, one of the ideas we have thrown at you. So use it or come up with something better.
The one thing you do have to do with the USV, though, is recover an object from the deck of the ship. So so again, if none of your UAVs need to land during the whole evolution, that's fine. You have to land one on the deck of the ship to deliver the small object. You have to mount the robotic arm on the deck of the ship, and that robotic arm has to pick up the bigger object. Those are the constraints. Whatever else you want to do with the UAVs is up to the UAVs and the USVs is up to the team. But you can't have a shore-based base station that you're using.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Let's be real clear about that too. The elements that we've given you are the elements of the competitive environment. Let's put it that way. So if you're asking, can I put something on shore? No. Other than when you're putting everything together to get it ready. But once you get out to the place where the event will take place, the elements that you have are the elements that you bring with you.
Just building on that last question, and another one on the USV. This one, is the USV going to be dropped into the patrol area? I assume that you mean the demonstration area, or do teams have to go and find the patrol area?
The patrol area, they mean the demonstration area, right? Okay. So these are the details for the demonstration phase. Honestly, we don't need to discuss it right now. We are charting out all the details for demonstration at this moment, but we will assist you in bringing your equipment to the demonstration area and put it on the start gate. So don't worry too much about how will we move our equipment and where will we do the testing. We will provide you a workshop. We will provide you enough support to move your equipment around, and we will provide you a test area for you to test out your equipment once you come to Abu Dhabi.
Great. Conscious we're at time now, so we do have a couple more that have just come in, so we'll try and get those answered very quickly. How long will it be until the semi-finalists are announced, and how many teams do you have so far?
Well, this is confidential information. I can only tell you that there's been more than 500 registrations, and yeah, just do your best. Don't worry about how many people are partaking. If you're the best team, you're going to make it.
And sorry, and when? How long until semi-finalists are going to be announced?
Okay, how long? So 31st January is the deadline. We are trying our best to announce the semi-finalists by first week of March.
Okay. And then just a clarification on one of your last answers of, if you can't have a shore-based station, how do you communicate with the USB?
So how do you communicate with the USB? Honestly, this is a challenge that you need to solve. We are not going to serve this to you on a plate. So you need to mount payloads on the USB that can communicate with UAVs to localize itself. I hope I answered that one. So you will not be allowed to communicate with any you will not be allowed to set up a base station in the first place on the shore. Your entire system is going to be USB and the UAVs. You need to find a way to navigate from the start gate into the demonstration area and accomplish the entire demonstration activity without any extra system communication. This is the core part of the challenge.
Right. The only communication you'll have with the outside is when you send back the identification signal to the command and control station that says you have found the target.
Right. Yep.
Everything else has to be done autonomous.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of a key point for just to relate it in this answer, and that is in an entirely autonomous challenge. So once the challenge starts, from the team's perspective, the teams are spectating almost. The system will work, and then the organizers, Aspire, will confirm or deny if the autonomous system has correctly identified the target, but there is no intervention from the teams once it begins.
Exactly. Yeah, very good point, Tom. I think we also have to emphasize that this entire operation is 100% unmanned. Nobody will be allowed to sit on the catamaran. Nobody will be allowed to stand at the start gate or interfere with the system. So once you put your equipment on the start gate, the entire operation has to run completely unmanned and autonomously.
Great. I think we have covered most of them off now, so I will bring it to a close now and just say kind of thank you very much. Apologies for overrunning slightly. Really appreciate your time in joining. If you do have any other questions, please do. There are many ways to contact the organisers, whether that's via the community forum. Please register and sign up for that if you haven't done so already. Equally, there's the contact form on the website. So please do get in touch. I appreciate there's 6 days to go until the white paper submission deadline. So hopefully you are in a good place in finalizing your white papers. Veena, I'll hand over to you to close.
Thank you very much, Tom. We are really excited to receive your great ideas. All the best to everyone who is currently composing white papers. Put your best foot forward, and we look forward to receiving your white papers in the next 6 days. Any closing words from you, Art?
Oh, I'm just, like I said, I'm looking to see world-class results out of this. We have had a number of people that say they think they can win it, so I'm really interested in seeing who's going to come out on top. It's going after a major problem that anybody's got a coastline faces, and this is a real world challenge, and I am extremely excited to see what the world's going to bring forward.
This is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you very much.